You might be wondering what's the difference between guilt and shame, with a surprising answer coming up next. In this video, we're diving into the difference between guilt and shame.
And then we're going to cover why you feel them.
But last, we'll cover how to stop feeling all of that guilt and shame. The words guilt and shame are often used interchangeably, but they are absolutely not the same thing.
Guilt is defined as a feeling of responsibility or remorse for something you did. It's about a specific action.
Right. It might be a mistake, committing a crime, or hurting someone, even if it's unintentional.
Now, shame goes a lot deeper than guilt. It's not always linked to a specific situation or an event the way guilt is.
Yeah, shame might cause you to believe that you're bad, deserve to be punished, or not enough as a person.
Shame is not about you. Shame is about you, not necessarily about a specific action or a specific event.
Yeah. Even when shame is linked to an event, like an assault, the shame you feel is about yourself. As in, well, I must have done something to deserve this, or why else would it have happened? It's about me, not about the person who attacked me.
Shame is super common and a very common side effect for all forms of abuse.
Yeah. So a lot of people struggle with guilt and shame for a lot of different reasons. A surprising number of those reasons are misplaced.
You might be a mom who feels guilty at the thought of taking a little time for yourself. You might have a weight problem and be ashamed at how you look or how many times you've regained weight that you've lost.
Yeah, or it could be something that you're not proud of or you just didn't want to do.
It could be you think you let yourself down in some way. It could be that you aren't being true to yourself, and part of you really knows that.
Guilt and shame really are common reactions when you really care about doing something right and you feel like, well, you failed at it. All right, so I want Carrie to talk a little bit about maybe the guilt, because she's a mom. She has actual babies. I am not. I didn't have children. I have dogs. But I know that, Carrie, you said something to me before we started recording, and I said, why haven't you been keeping up on your regular massages? And Carrie said, I kind of just feel a little bit guilty about getting them.
I think it's interesting as moms, it's sort of like guilt is built into the DNA as a mother. And I think it is because you have, and all moms understand, you have a human being that is completely dependent on you for everything. And so if something goes wrong, you immediately associate it with something that you did wrong as a mom. Or if something's not perfect, a lot of people will have very sadly like miscarriages, or babies will have of no fault of anyone, birth defects, and they feel guilty. They feel like it is their fault that that baby had that. And that is very different than feeling shame. You don't feel shamed because your child is still peeing the bed when they're 4. You feel guilty. And I don't know, I think moms understand this. It's a completely different feeling. And I think it's really important to differentiate between the two of those. But as a mom, we feel guilty about everything. And I kind of think that it becomes a badge of honor after a while. If you don't feel guilty, then you must not be doing something right as a mom. You must not really care about your children. You must not be taking responsibility for what's happening with them. And so I think it's really...
It's that mommy martyr.
Yeah.
I can't stand the mommy martyr.
You really have to be cautious about how much of this you let into your life as a mom.
I kind of feel guilty, and you guys might laugh when I say this, but my puppy Vince, we keep him in a kennel. I knew you were gonna laugh. I knew it, but it's real to me.
It is real.
It's valid. We put Vince in a kennel when we're not home because he hasn't quite understood. He doesn't learn the rules of the house, and he's pretty still young and stuff. And he comes from a shelter, so he has got problems. And I want to go take myself to breakfast. And so I put him in the kennel and I leave him there. And I kind of feel guilty, like I should be doing something where he can join me. So I don't know. I mean, for all you parents out who don't have human kids, I feel a little bit guilty, like, oh man, I should be taking him with me. I should be doing something where he can join, sitting at an outdoor cafe.
I feel guilty when it was really cold last winter and I had the chickens out in the barn. And my husband was like, they're chickens. They're going to be fine. But I was like, maybe we should get specialized heaters for them. So I think the feeling of guilt is very well ingrained into us as human beings.
Yeah.
It's really important that people recognize that guilt and shame also come from other people. This is huge.
Sometimes other people use guilt and shame on you to try to get what they want, or because they're just really unhappy and don't know how else to handle their problems.
They say and do things that cause you to think you did something wrong, or that you're the person that's wrong, when really it's the other person who's messed up and doing a really bad job of handling it, and it's them putting their expectations for you as a person onto you. Yeah. And the only expectations you should have on yourself are your own expectations.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. Well, whatever the cause of your guilt and shame, here's what you can do to understand why you're feeling it. First, write down the last time you felt guilty or ashamed.
What happened right before you felt that way? What happened during? And kind of like write down what happened afterwards.
And we're saying write it down, like with an old school pen and paper. Writing down exactly what happened gets the information out of your head and right there in front of you. And actually, before we go any further, how about you comment below? And yes, I still want you to write it down, but why don't you put in the comment section when the last time you felt guilt and shame? There is something so powerful about letting it out. Tell me what you're feeling. I want to hear from you.
Now that you can see what triggered the guilt or shame, I want you to start asking why. Like a curious little kid. Why did I feel the guilt or the shame when this happened? And when you answer that question, ask why again and again and again.
Just keep asking why. I mean, really get deep here, because that's how you're going to get to the real reason. And you know what? Just shine a light on the reason. Don't hide.
And what you find is probably going to shock you. It probably won't be what you expect, but that's okay. That's really the point.
Yeah, that's the point. All right, now that you can see what's going on with the guilt and shame that you're feeling, here's how to start making it stop.
First of all, examine the beliefs you have. Ask yourself, are they facts or are they just stories? For example, let's say you realized you feel guilty for wanting to spend a little time with yourself instead of doing something with everyone or for everyone else. Let's say the deep, raw reason is because your parents told you that you had to give to others and it was selfish and you made you a bad person if you ever put yourself first.
Is that a provable fact that putting yourself first sometimes makes you a bad person? I don't like that.
Or is it just a story that you tell yourself, Cristy, because it's based on what somebody else told you to believe?
Yeah, what they believe, like we become the stories that we tell ourselves. So if you're feeling a lot of guilt and shame, it's because you're telling yourself stories that make you feel those things. Change your stories and you will, with practice, change how you feel.
Another way to stop the guilt and shame comes down to one word: forgiveness for yourself. Forgiving yourself for being a human being and doing the best you could with where you were really goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. And finally, you can also stop the guilt and shame by doing something good for you, something that you can be proud of.
That's what we help clients do in Cristy's nutrition program, the Code Red Lifestyle. She teaches them how to lose weight, feel better about themselves with real food, water, and sleep. And let me tell you, they feel so good physically, but they also start to feel good about themselves. Mm-hmm. It's about so much more than weight loss. It's truly about taking your life back, including taking your life back from all the guilt and shame.
Yeah. I mean, if you'd like to take your life back, really, get started with downloading our Code Red Lifestyle private network, which you can do in the App Store or the Google Play Store or at coderedlifestyle.com/APP.
You'll get food ideas, support, programs, people just like you. You really need to check it out and see how you like a community of people who understand what you're going through.
Well, you're going to fit in really well because a rising tide lifts all boats. So, yeah, because we're in there. Yeah, of course.
Fun.
But we have coaches, we have mentors, we have people there to wrap their loving arms around you and love you until you can love yourself. It's a wonderful network of people. So we'll see you in the Code Red private network, and we'll see you on the next video.
Guilt is defined as feeling as a feeling of responsibility or remorse for something you did.
All right, hold on. Do it again and say remorse.
Remorse?
Yeah, you said amorse. It just came off slurred.
Okay.
It might be a mistake committing. Hold on, I lost my spot.
It's the very last line right above the
because it didn't advance.
Yep.
All right.
It wasn't your fault.
I'm feeling
Don't
shameful.
feel guilty.
Don't
Yeah.
feel guilty.
Because I know you're thinking something.
Oh, no.
I can feel it. Okay, no. Do I need to do an engagement?
He's crying softly in the corner.
Yeah.
We can talk to you about your issues if you have anything.
Yeah, like we're in any position.
We're not in any position to help anybody.